A young woman goes missing from Plant City, Florida on February 6, 2020. Her black two-door Toyota Solara was later found abandoned on the railroad tracks. Doors unlocked, engines still running, her belongings left behind. Her phone lay on the ground nearby as if dropped in haste. That woman was 28-year-old Cieha Taylor. Nearly 5 years have passed since that day, and her family still lives with the unthinkable pain of not knowing what happened to her.
For them, every sunrise is another day without answers, and every night is filled with questions that remain unresolved. Tonight, we're revisiting her story, not just to remember the details, but to keep her name alive and to push for the truth that her loved ones so desperately deserve.
What's the emergency?
No problem. All units are by
I'm at the corner of Pleasant Hill and John Young Freeway.
Welcome back to Crime Solvers Central, the channel where we dig into unsolved cases, missing persons, and mysteries that still need answers. I'm Charlie.
And I'm Jayce. Thanks for joining us today. In this one, we're covering a heartbreaking and deeply puzzling case. The disappearance of 28-year-old Cieha Taylor from Plant City, Florida in February of 2020.
That's right. This case has haunted her family, frustrated investigators, and left a community searching for answers. Nearly 5 years later, there's still no closure, but we're going to walk you through what we know, the major red flags, and discuss some theories that might explain what happened to Kaia.
So let's start with the basics. On February 6th of 2020, Kaia dropped her boyfriend, Jayce and Roberts, off at a friend's house in Plant City around 4 p.m. And then about 3 hours later, her car, which was a Toyota Solara, was found abandoned on the railroad tracks about a mile away.
And not just abandoned, the car was still running. The driver's side door open, her purse was inside, and her phone was found nearby on the ground. That's already unusual, but what happened next made the case even more concerning.
Exactly. A Plant City police officer moved her car off the tracks, but didn't think to check into who owned it or why it was even parked there. That's really bizarre. They just got it off the rails and parked it nearby. No follow-up at that moment, no attempt to contact the registered owner.
And that's a huge oversight. And because of that, it wasn't until 3 days later that Kaia's family realized that she was missing. Her friends and relatives then reported her disappearance to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office.
And when investigators and volunteers searched the area, they came up empty. They brought in canine units, helicopters, they canvassed neighborhoods, but no trace of Kaia was ever found. Her debit card, her ID, phone, her keys, it was all left behind in her car.
Later, on February 26th, her shoes were found near a light pole. They were close to where the car had been abandoned, but the strange part, that area had been searched multiple times before. Her family believed that the shoes may have been planted there.
Yeah, and all of these odd factors compounding raised suspicions of foul play. Now, meanwhile, her boyfriend and the friend that she was dropping him off to, they were the last two people confirmed to have seen her alive, and they were later arrested, but on unrelated charges. Investigators have never publicly claimed them as suspects in her disappearance, although many believe they may know more than they have said.
And let's not forget the timing. Just a few weeks before Kaia vanished, another young woman, Veronica Reyes Diaz, disappeared under eerily similar circumstances in the same area. Both women's cars were found abandoned with their personal belongings inside.
Despite these strange parallels, investigators haven't found any evidence linking these two cases directly. But it does make you wonder, is this a coincidence or is there some kind of connection between the two?
Now that's the background. In the next segment, we'll dive into the major theories, whether it was foul play, a mental health crisis, or something else, and ask the hard questions about what really might have happened to Kaia.
A 28-year-old from Florida seemed to just vanish one night after dropping off her boyfriend. Her car abandoned near a set of railroad tracks, and the engine was still running. The doors were wide open, her purse, her cell phone, all of it was still inside the car. That was more than 2 years ago, and Kaia has not been seen since.
So now that we've laid out the timeline, let's start breaking down some of the big questions surrounding Kaia's case. Because honestly, the circumstances are bizarre.
And I totally agree. First question, why was her car left running on the railroad tracks? That's not something you accidentally do. Her purse, wallet, keys, all left inside. Her phone was right outside on the ground. For most people, that screams foul play.
Yeah, and it also raises questions about that initial police response. So a Plant City officer moves her car off the tracks but doesn't think to check who owns it or why it was there. I mean, if they had traced the registration right away, the missing persons report might have been filed immediately instead of days later. That lost time is critical.
Exactly. In a missing persons case, those first 24 to 48 hours are everything. So it's frustrating that her case didn't even get rolling until day 3.
Another question that sticks out to me is, what about her boyfriend and his friend? Jason Roberts, the boyfriend, and Kevin Ring were the last people to see her alive. Later, both of them get arrested on unrelated charges, Kevin Ring especially, on dozens of felony counts. But law enforcement has never publicly called either of them suspects in Kaia's disappearance.
Right? But her family's been pretty clear. They believe these guys know more than they're saying. Kaia's aunt even said law enforcement might be leveraging those unrelated charges in hopes of getting information.
That's interesting to me. Do you think that's likely, that those arrests could eventually break this case open?
It's possible. We've seen it happen in other cases. Jacob Wetterling comes to mind, where suspects confessed to one crime while serving time for another. The family even said they'd be open to a deal if it brought closure, even if it meant the men weren't charged directly with harming Kaia. That tells you how desperate they are just to know what happened to Kaia.
And then we've got the detail about the shoes. So 3 weeks later, her shoes suddenly show up in an area that had already been searched multiple times. Her mother said they looked like they'd been placed there. That's chilling because if it's true, it suggests somebody was taunting the family or even trying to throw investigators off.
Or that the investigators missed something the first time, and that doesn't inspire confidence. Either way, it adds another layer to the mystery.
There's also that other unsolved disappearance that happened in the same area, Veronica Reyes Diaz. Just 3 weeks earlier, she vanished under eerily similar circumstances. Her car was also abandoned with her belongings inside. 2 young women, same county, same strange details.
Right? It's hard not to wonder if there's a connection. Even if investigators haven't said the cases are linked, the similarities are undeniable. If nothing else, it suggests that something dangerous was happening in Plant City at that time.
Now, some people point to the idea that maybe Kaia was experiencing some kind of mental health crisis. Her boyfriend and his friend claim that she was acting strangely that day, and her friend had said that on the phone she sounded off before she vanished.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that theory. Her phone, wallet, and ID were all left behind. She couldn't access money, transportation, or communication. If it was just a crisis and she wandered off, then where is she? Extensive searches turned up nothing, and she had no history of running away or abandoning her responsibilities.
Exactly. Her family flat out rejects the idea that she would have just walked away from her life. They say that she was too close with them to make that kind of decision, and she never went anywhere without her phone.
So we're left with a handful of possibilities. 1, she was the victim of foul play at the hands of someone she knew. 2, a stranger abduction, though that seems less likely given the timeline. 3, some kind of accident that hasn't been discovered, though after 5 years, it's hard to imagine nothing would have turned up by now.
For me, the strongest theory is foul play involving people close to her. The timing, the abandoned car, the lack of follow-up by law enforcement early on, it all adds up to me that it was somebody she knew.
I agree. And the fact that law enforcement is still holding things close to the chest tells me they don't want to risk blowing this case. They've said they're waiting until they have a smoking gun. That suggests that they do have suspicions, maybe even evidence, but they want it to be airtight.
That's a good point. And until then, the family waits, the community waits, and we're left with more questions than answers.
Not a day goes by that Cieha Taylor does not think about her daughter.
She just lit up a room when she walked in it. She was spiritual and was always giving really good advice.
It's been almost 5 years since anyone last saw Kaia. According to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, she had dropped off her boyfriend at his home. Her vehicle was found about a mile away, abandoned on the railroad tracks, left running with her belongings inside. Her mother continues to grieve, not knowing what happened to her.
So here we are, more than 5 years since the day Cieha Taylor disappeared as of the making of this video. And despite searches, vigils, and endless prayers, her family still doesn't have the one thing they deserve most, and that's answers.
Her mom, Cieha, has said it best. There's a hole in my heart, a wound that can't be healed because of all the unknowns. And her family continues to fight to keep her memory alive with banners, vigils, and that Facebook page, Finding Kaia, where they post updates and reminders that she is not forgotten.
If you're watching this, you can play a part in keeping her story alive. Share her name, her picture, her story, because someone out there knows something. Maybe it's a small detail, something they saw that day or something they overheard. Sometimes even the smallest tip can crack a case wide open.
If you have any information, no matter how small, please contact the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office at 813-247-8200. You can also reach out directly to Detective Joseph Florio, who has been working on Kaia's case.
And for those who want to support on a broader scale, you can follow our work here at Crime Solvers Central. We work hard to highlight these cases so families don't feel forgotten. You can share this video, subscribe to the channel, or visit our website at crimesolverscentral.com to learn more about how you can help.
Kaia's family has even offered a reward for information leading to her whereabouts. And remember, tips can be anonymous. If you know something, say something. You could be the reason her family finally gets closure.
Kaia was only 28 years old, full of life and loved by so many. She deserves to be found. Her family deserves peace, and justice deserves to be served.
So tonight, let's end by remembering her, by speaking her name, Cieha Taylor, and by refusing to let her story fade away.
Thanks for joining us on Crime Solvers Central. We'll see you next time as we continue shining a light on cases that still need answers.
Take care of each other. And until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and stay loud.